Hi, I'm Mandy Pryor, and welcome to Spotlight on Pittsburgh. Spotlight on Pittsburgh is a program about Pittsburgh's most fascinating people and what they do to make Pittsburgh an amazing place to live and work. When we come back, I'll introduce you to our first guest comedian, Mike Sasson. Later, we'll bring on comedian Terry Jones, and we'll bring them both out at the end to see who knows classic comedy the best.
I'm 5'11".
Barely 5'4".
I weigh about 170 pounds.
Brown eyes.
Blue eyes.
Brown hair.
Gray hair.
I'm a baseball fanatic.
I'm a wife.
A mom.
A sister.
And a grandfather.
I'm a bodybuilder.
I'm a research analyst.
Small business owner.
Teacher.
Dance fitness instructor.
Film and television actor.
I'm an office clerk.
I'm a copywriter.
I'm a veteran.
I have a prosthetic leg.
I have multiple sclerosis.
I have lupus.
Cerebral palsy.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
I'm blind.
And I'm working in a job I love.
I love.
Because I was given a chance.
Because I was given a chance.
To contribute my skills and talents.
To show my disability is only one part of who I am.
Who I am.
Who I am.
At work, it's what people can do that matters.
For more information, visit whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
And welcome back. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Awesome to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
So what can you tell me? Tell me a little bit about how you got started in comedy.
Well, I mean, I graduated from college. I'm from the area. I actually went to Fox Chapel High School and then went up to the University of Connecticut where I played football. And then I came back to Pittsburgh, worked corporate jobs for a little while, and then just got the bug to start performing and everything like that. So I actually started to work a little bit for ESPN here locally. And then from there, got an opportunity to do sports talk radio. Eventually got a part-time gig at The Fan on 93.7 here in Pittsburgh. But when that ended, still had the performing bug. Always been a huge fan of stand-up comedy. And so just went to a local open mic and just fell in love with it. I mean, it really is a calling. It's what it's what I love to do, absolutely.
And so that first time you got up there, was it a all positive, negative experience?
It went by really, really fast, and you don't really remember it because, like, the thing about what you do, for the first time you do anything, one of the things is you have this idea in your mind of what exactly is going to happen, and when you're watching stand-up comedy for your entire life, you're watching the greats, you're watching a Carlin or a Richard Pryor or Robin Williams, and you don't realize that these guys have been doing it for 20, 30 years, and so you assume, like, in your head, like, oh, I'm going to go up there and I'm just going to absolutely destroy, everyone's just going to love everything I do. And then when you get up there and all of a sudden you just look and see just a group of faces staring back at you, you do find that you're like, oh, okay, what now? Now, really how I responded was just I got really, really loud and really moved around a lot, kind of what I'm doing right now. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and so it just got to a point to where one of the great things about Pittsburgh now is it's a place to where you can get up on stage 2 or 3 times a night and go to an open mic and work on new material, and it's a place where you can get good, whereas maybe 10, 15 years ago, you could maybe dabble in it, but if you really wanted to get good, you had to move to one of the coasts. You had to move to a New York or LA. Whereas right now, you can catch really good stand-up comedy here in Pittsburgh.
And so you've done a lot here in Pittsburgh. Have you gone anywhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I've done comedy in New York, done out to Cleveland, been out, all up down the East Coast, done up to, in Maryland, done casinos, done corporate gigs, all that kind of thing there. But generally my focus is right now, in terms of Western Pennsylvania. I would say that right now where I'm at as a comedian is I'm at the, there's an old saying in terms of comedy is wherever you're from, get good where you're from, then go to a New York and get great, and then go to LA and get famous. So if I'm at the stage right now, I'm at the trying to get good in Pittsburgh. So yeah, but I mean, I have been up to New York and go out to all the way out to, to Ohio and Chicago and, and all that kind of good stuff. But the thing about it is what I've noticed of going anywhere, I mean, funny's funny. So what works in Pittsburgh works in Brooklyn, what works in Philly, what works in Cleveland. You might have to change a reference here. A giant eagle might become an A&P, or a weatherman might be go from a channel 11 to a channel 5, whatever. But just funny's funny, and if you can learn to do it, you can do it pretty much anywhere.
And so, what is your act based around? Is it just slice of life? Or?
Essentially, yeah. It's just my take on everything. I mean, it's really what I am. I'm a passionate guy. I'm a passionate, and so if I feel passionate about something, that's what usually gets into my act. And I'm passionate from politics to my family to just my experiences of being a human being on this planet. I mean, that's really what comedy is. I mean, they've described it as like somebody basically, a normal person sees something and it just goes right past their face, whereas a comedian kind of grabs it and shows it to the audience and says, well, you ever seen this? And that's what you want to do. You want to sit there and have that aha moment to where you're like, you're right, I've never noticed that, but you kind of did that. And that's what we are. And that's where we can kind of, and at least in my mind, and hopefully, you affect people. You can change their minds because you sit there and say, haven't you noticed this little factor? Haven't you noticed this little thing? And when you have that moment, and that's what laughter is. Laughter, in my opinion, is agreement. Laughter is somebody saying, you're right, I agree with you. Silence is, no, I don't agree with you. It's, no, I don't understand what you're saying, which is, when you get the whole thing of, oh, we either went over their heads or they just don't get it. But that's really where it comes from. So what I try to do in my act is just what I truly find, funny, what I truly find interesting. Because one thing that I always find, at least interesting is, audience members will come up to me after a show and they'll just be like, well, I like this aspect and I like that, but I thought you went a little too far here. I didn't think this, that. And the only answer you can really give them is, okay, there's no way I can get into your head. There's no way I can figure out what you find funny. I can only tell you what I found funny, and hopefully we find it together.
Well, I can see that. I mean, I think a lot of comedy is either shocking because it's something you thought was so personal to you, or it's something that you didn't even notice that everybody else did, and everybody's doing it, so it's great to bring to that light.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really what, I mean, if you think about it, now some people might describe it as, I'm more of a preacher in a sense of this is what I believe and this is my proof of it, and I do have a sales background, so I do kind of have that, value proposition in my head of like, okay, this is my product, this is how I'm going to sell it to you, and then you take the next 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 minutes, whatever, of saying, okay, this is why you should believe what I believe. And that's why there's different, types of comics and different levels of which you can go by and all that kind of stuff.
Wonderful. And so what's your favorite venue that you perform in Pittsburgh?
I mean, they're all unique and different. I mean, obviously, Arcade Comedy downtown is a unique venue. They're actually moving into a larger space. I'll be on their first weekend shows, so that'll be exciting. The Improv is obviously a huge venue, and it's where it's quote unquote the A club, to where you get national touring acts. I've performed at theaters, and they're interesting. And I've performed at, small little clubs and everything like that. So they're all unique and special. So to sit there and say which one's your favorite, I mean, I think I'm a boisterous guy, so I think sometimes the bigger the venue, sometimes it's better for me. But you see, bookers, the bigger the venue, the more money you give me, it's better for me. That's how it works. Because I assume this is going to every booker in the country because they all live in Peters Township. But no, I mean, so I would say obviously the Improv, Arcade Comedy. But if you want to see great local kind of like underground stuff, Hambones in Lawrenceville is a great place because that's a great performance venue to where you can kind of see more up and coming, or maybe some quote unquote alt guys from around the country.
Probably can test a little bit more material as well.
Yeah, I mean, and I personally like to test in every type of venue, and that's one thing that you can't do. One thing I've learned about people is sometimes people come up to you and go, well, what's your demographic? What's the perfect person? I don't believe I have a demographic. I have a psychographic. I have what's your mindset. If your mindset is you're open to new experiences, you're open to understanding that, that don't take things too seriously, then we're going to be fine. I've met, college kids that are a little tightly wound and they're tough, and I've met older people that are tightly wound. Whereas, I've done shows in libraries in front of people who are the average age would probably be 75 years old and had a great time because they were there to have fun. And same thing with, this past weekend I did a show in which probably the average age of the people in the audience was 21, 22 years old. They were open, they were having a great time. And I've had it flipped. People that are, older, they're like, nope, we don't want to go there. And same thing with younger people. Nope, we don't want to go there. So again, it's more of a psychographic than, in my opinion, than a demographic.
And so what do you have coming up?
What do I have coming up? I'm performing all over the place. My biggest thing that I'd like, that I'd love everyone to see is my internet radio show, the Mike Sasson Show. It's on the River's Edge, which is a great local venture out of Millvale, Pennsylvania. It's 24 hours live local music and talk. So every Tuesday, me and my co-host Alex Clemens, who is a South Hills native, she went to Baldwin High School and then eventually went up to Point Park University. We do a show to where it's an hour and a half. It's what we it's what we find funny and what we find interesting. And then throughout the week, we have clips. You can find it on Mike Sasson, MikeSasson.com, or my Facebook page. Everything's just Mike Sasson, so you can find me there. And then comedy-wise, all my shows throughout the area you can find there as well.
Great. Well, thanks so much. We'll bring you back out in a little bit. Let's grab a quick clip of Mike's latest show.
You know the biggest problem doing a podcast when you record it? Where do you put your hands? Because right now, if you're watching on Facebook, you see that my hands are up on top of the desk. But then earlier, they were on my lap because that was a comfortable place. But then I was figuring that everyone would sit there and be like, where are Mike's hands? And then I'm like, I don't know, they're right here. Don't think anything negative of me. Anyways,
that's why it's a podcast, so no one cares.
I know, but people are watching. Millions of people are watching. It's the Mike Sasson Show live.
You can watch more clips like this and follow his act by following him on Facebook at Mike Sasson. You can also catch his show, The Mike Sasson Show, on riversedgepgh.com. When we come back from break, we'll bring on Terry Jones.
Sometimes it's hard to see where you're going, but you have the power to change your problems. All it takes is courage. YourLifeYourVoice.org.
And welcome back. We are here with Terry Jones.
Hey.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too, yeah.
So Terry is a local Pittsburgh comedian, but you've also gone all over the place, I'm sure.
Yes.
So what's your comedic inspiration?
My comedic inspiration as far as a person or just in general?
I guess what gets you going, what makes you do comedy?
Oh man, I just love comedy, man. I just love making people laugh. It's the greatest thing in the world. Like when people are smiling, they're laughing, they're having a bad day, and you ever have such a bad day, you go on Facebook and you see a meme and you just laugh
and
for the rest of your life.
It
just changes everything. It could change your whole day. Like, oh man, I really need that laugh. So I think that's one of the biggest drives for me. And just the art of stand-up comedy and comedy in general. Because, I like to do sketches and different things like that, video, audio skits, whether was podcast, radio, or YouTube. So just in general, it's just so much fun. Yeah.
And how long have you been working on your comedy, I guess?
I've been doing comedy since I was 18, and I'm 30 now, so 11, 12 years. It's been a while. It's been a long time. But
so you're getting well seasoned.
Yeah, I'm just glad I started early because I was able to learn a lot of things at an early age. So now, even though a lot of people are starting comedy in their 20s and they're probably 3-5 years in at my age, it's funny because I become the bitter old man, you know what I mean? And I'm only 30.
So it's kind of like whenever people who get braces later in their 30s or something, so wish they did it when they were 18.
Exactly.
14.
So it feels really cool to be able to have done comedy this long. Yeah.
And so what's your comedy based on? Do you have a specific style or genre, I guess?
Yes, I would say I talk a lot about race humor, dealing with politics, stuff like that, in a circle life. A lot of things just dealing with life, being a parent.
I was going to ask if being a parent has moved its way in.
It has changed everything. It's grounded me. So, I talk a lot about the kids on there, relationships, just a lot about life. I want to touch on things that a lot of people can relate to. That I'm dealing with, because there's a lot of times where you think you're the only person dealing with something, and then you talk to someone and you go, oh my God, that's me too. That's me. So I do that with comedy a lot. you know.
And so, I asked Mike, the comedian from before, what's his...
Mike Sasson. You know
Mike
what's funny
Sasson.
about Mike Sasson? You guys got him to put a button up on. I only see him in black T-shirts. So it was
we
very
didn't
fancy
know. So
for him to come on Spotlight on Pittsburgh.
He's expressing himself
He's
today.
expressing himself in the best way. He got cleaned up. He shaved. Like, oh man, you guys.
Although he still has a nice, the full beard.
Oh yeah, he got the beard lined up.
Yeah.
So I mean, he definitely cleaned up for you guys. It's awesome to see him.
And you and Mike
in
have
that.
worked together before, correct?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. We were actually on morning radio together and a podcast, a big podcast together too. So yeah, he's a very funny guy. I'm a fan. So
Good. Well, what's probably say from this week, if you were to create some comedy from this week, what would be the best moment that could stick out as slice of life, I guess?
A lot of stuff going on with like the NFL. Like I opened my notebook immediately. A lot of things going on with Donald Trump, things that he's been saying. I just started writing instantly. I was just like, there's so much material here. And I was just connecting the pieces, and then there was just...
You couldn't, the whole thing with the Steelers and all of that, you couldn't get away from the lower thirds. They were on everything.
It was on everything, and I was just like, I have to write routines about all of this stuff just so I can have it, because, I want to work on another album, so it's like I have to just get these chunks now. But I would say those are the takeaways, because it's just been a circus. On social media, watching people like burn terrible towels and seeing grown men burn jerseys of another grown man they never met before, and it has a last name that's not even theirs, and they're like, oh, I'm going to burn this jersey because I'm so upset right now because Brown hurt my feelings. And it's like, you don't even know Brown. Like, what
I was home with a sick baby, so I was like, I have things going on. Like, I can't really pay attention right now.
Man, I want some of those tickets. Like, don't burn them, sell them. Like,
Yeah.
I know you're trying to prove.
I mean, you should at least make a profit off of it.
I would have made a profit off of it. I would put them on eBay, sell them for triple, and people are going to buy them. So
Absolutely. And so you mentioned you have an album right now, or it's coming out?
Yes. So I already have an album out right now, which it just hit 50,000 streams worldwide. Yes. I had to be like super.
You made me
hyped for
like
that
cheer
for
too
no
in the
reason.
background.
Right? Like, hey. No, it's been doing well. It's on Spotify, Tidal, iTunes, Apple Music. It's pretty much anywhere. Pandora Music. It's been doing really good on there. So even if you get like Richard Pryor Radio, one of my routines might pop on, so that like.
I have to use Richard Pryor anytime I'm spelling my name
You
over
have
the phone.
Because
Every time.
And I bet people love it.
They chuckle upstairs when I'm clocking in. They're like, Pryor. And I'm like Richard Pryor. And they're
Richard-
like, oh, yeah, you.
Because he's the biggest Pryor ever, next to Mandy.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's funny. So what's your favorite show that you've ever done?
Stand up or like in general, like anything that I've.
Anything that you've done.
Man, that's a tough one. I think I was on national TV for Jennifer Lopez had a channel. It was called Nouveau TV, and it was mainly like on the West Coast. And I was on this TV show called Stand Up and Deliver, and that was like one of the greatest experiences for me because I always wanted to be on one of those type of TV shows since I was a teenager. And I remember being 16, like, yo, I want to be on one of these type of, comedy shows. So I get there and it's like so professional. Like you're doing an interview before, then you do another interview, and then they like do makeup, and then they give you this like cloth in case you're sweating, and you have to line up. And
You're making me feel bad. I didn't give you any of these perks.
No. This place is almost better, and it was at the Cabo Wabo with where Sammy Hagar has his place. A lot of you younger folks don't know who Sammy Hagar. I'm surprised I even know who Sammy Hagar is, but you had to come down these steps, and I was so nervous because it was the first time. Like, this is it. Like, if you mess up on this TV show, it's everywhere. Like, anyone can tune in and just
No
like,
pressure.
That dude is horrible. So the whole time I just kept saying, do not fall down these steps. Do not fall down these steps, because it was like, you're next. Okay. And I'm like, yeah. And it was a long way down. Like, these weren't just like 2-3 steps. It was like 30. So I didn't want to like end up like Beyonce did when she was in Miami dancing and she just like flew off the steps. I was like, I can't be that guy. So the experience was just great to be able to make that many people laugh, and then to have like friends and family, take pictures of like my name whenever you pull up the cable and it's like starring Terry Jones. They're like, hey. But I think that was...
Do you watch it every weekend?
No.
I'm just teasing. I'm kidding.
No, for a while I did. Don't tell anyone. Oh, I already told you.
So you have a podcast video. It's album. I'm sorry.
Yeah, album. No, it's okay.
I'm getting there. What else do you have going on? Do you have any events coming up? Where can people see you in person?
I'll be in Oaks Theater in November coming up. I'll also be at the Crown Royal Comedy Club on South Hills area. Also, it'll be that following week. Then I'll be at Unplanned Comedy the same week as Oaks Theater. These will all be listed on the Facebook page. There's so many different shows coming up. I was just in Vegas performing at the World Series of Comedy, which was a great experience. Just trying to gather as much as I can and do shows. But the comedy album is the main thing that I want a lot of people to hear, because I feel like right now it's just such an important album.
Well, we'll certainly share the links out there as well.
Which I appreciate.
What's one quick tip on a youth wanting to become a comedian?
Okay, so I wanted to do comedy when I was a teenager. So if anybody here is, or any teen or anyone just feels like, hey, I want to do stand-up, or I want to do something in comedy, just do it. Literally, that's the best tip I could say, because you just learn on the way. Like, the production here is awesome. Seeing like all the students put together everything that they're putting together. That was me. I was in video production doing like funny skits for high school, and they would put it on before the school news. So, if you want to do any of that, just go ahead and just follow your dreams. I'm really big into following your dreams, and that's something I want to instill in my kids too. So.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much. We'll bring you right back out here. Let's get a quick clip of Terry in one of his latest videos.
I want to introduce myself. My name is Terry Jones. I assure you my name's Terry Jones. No, NFL quarterback Michael Vick is not telling you jokes right now. I am Terry Jones. Just saw me here in Cabo. People walking around with their dogs. They're like, vomitos, hide the paddles. Michael Vick is here.
Thanks so much, Terry, for coming on to Spotlight. To follow Terry on Facebook, look for him under the handle comedian Terry Jones. When we come back, we'll have both Terry and Mike on to see who's top comedian in our Knock Knock Challenge.
Together, we can change the news. Find out how at safekids.org.
Well, we're excited to have both Mike and Terry on set together, because they've done this before. Yeah. So is there anything that you guys would like to share, any stories or moments for our guests that you two had together?
None that are suitable for the Township High School television class.
Nothing that stands
out.
No, I mean,
obviously, Terry and I, we did a huge podcast together and did morning radio, and you really learn a lot about a human being when they're physically exhausted at 5:30 in the morning trying to drink coffee enough to stay awake. Yeah. Understand, when you listen to morning radio, those people are exhausted. So anytime you sit there and you go, why would they say that? They don't even know what they said. They don't know what day it is. They're just
going through the motions.
Oh, well, not even going through the motions. It's just every single day, because you have to be an adult. You have to you can't just go to sleep at 7:30 at night to get 8 hours sleep to wake up at 4 in the morning. So you're getting 5-6 hours sleep, and so you're cool for a little bit.
5, 6?
Yeah,
I was getting 3.
I
was literally my whole day was
that's why it was
20
so
hours.
much. That's why it's so
he
much
seemed
better
fresh like a daisy.
That's hilarious.
Right?
And so basically, I was about to commend the Peters Township people for making sure that this couch was suitable for on this.
I don't think you can plan this. I don't think you can plan this moment.
You can't plan that. My man just literally went through the whole
We need a booster seat.
No, we don't. Do the do it. I don't care.
do you
no,
wanna-
I don't
So
wanna-
I
never
feel
wanna be
like,
that
you know,
token.
we were supposed to do a knock-knock challenge, and you go through some jokes. Are you okay?
There you go. Here, I'll move
you
over for you,
go.
Matt.
I mean, it's okay. We'll get it fixed in a minute. Just take
Yeah, I
that.
don't-
Does anybody just see the pillow? We talked about hugging
I
a
told
pillow.
you this is why you should just hug pillows. Hey, how bad is that?
well, that's Cat.
That looks
Wait,
like
what?
that looks like
Wasn't
the
your
Grand
fault.
Canyon. It
Wasn't
just-
your fault.
It wasn't my fault.
So any
Clearly, it was
man.
actually it was.
we
most
might
of
have
the
to
fast
skip
food
this
places in the
today.
North
I mean,
Hills' fault.
I don't know if we can concentrate at this point with.
Oh, we can.
You
I should
can.
be wearing a
Yeah.
gold chain. Then I could be cool, like on the south side or something like that.
All right, so we'll try to continue this as best as possible. So what I want you to do, these are some classic jokes. They're not all knock jokes, but we need a name. So either you can answer this as seriously as you want to get the right answer, or if you don't know it, then whatever pops into your mind that's PG.
Is this a 7-second delay? Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
about to say.
So, number one, why did the chicken cross the road?
So he wouldn't get fried.
So he wouldn't get fried.
Yeah.
And what about you?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Yeah, why?
Because life is ultimately meaningless.
All
I
right.
just fell through it.
It's
I just
true.
fell through a
I
couch.
know it's hard to be. It's hard to
It's hard
ask
when I
serious
just embarrass
jokes right
myself in
now.
front of you. Like, why did the giant man think he could sit in this couch?
All right. Well, I don't think this is going to keep going for today. So we'll just say you're the winner today, Mike.
Yay!
I'm just kidding. Congratulations, Terry. You won. You didn't fall through the couch.
Yes, I did. I stayed up.
We're all
Now,
winners.
let me stop before I fall through next.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike
I was
and
about
Terry.
to give weight loss tips, but everyone's like, no.
It's not working.
So much for coming on our program today.
Oh, thank you for having
Mike,
us.
we will figure out a way to get you out of there as soon as possible.
Yep. There being the high school.
Anyway, it was a pleasure. We will look for both Mike and Terry on Spotlight on Pittsburgh. I will share some links. Thank you all for watching Spotlight on Pittsburgh. To watch past episodes, go to spotlightonpittsburgh.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. See you next time when we shine the light on 2 more guests.